organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, Kennedy Remembered. The latest on how the former president's initiative impacted the university is up next.
Joining forces for the holiday season, we'll show you which two UI colleges are coming together to help feed Iowa City this Thanksgiving.
And in sports, a senior day edition of pregame.
We have all that at the top of the hour. Daily Iowan TV starts right now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Hello and thanks for tuning in this evening. I'm Reed Chandler.
And I'm Muriel Kone. Tomorrow is the 50th anniversary of former President John F. Kennedy's assassination. 50 years ago, students at the University of Iowa started a fraternity exchange program to advocate for civil rights and honor President Kennedy. Although the program is no longer in place, Kennedy's legacy is still felt. Check out tomorrow's edition of the Daily Iowan to read more about his impact on the University of Iowa.
Thanksgiving is one of the biggest holidays for donating food, and with only a week to go, 2 University of Iowa colleges are competing to see who can raise the most donations. It's Carver College of Medicine versus the College of Pharmacy. They are partnering with Hy-Vee and Pioneer Food Co-op to raise food for the Johnson County Crisis Center. The president of the Carver College of Medicine's student government, Wanaki Carr, said in a statement to the Daily Iowan, "In the past, our learning communities have sponsored a canned food drive competition against one another. This year, the Carver College of Medicine student government decided to bring back the event and make it a competition between the Carver College of Medicine and the College of Pharmacy. We reached out to the College of Pharmacy and did not receive a statement. If you would like to help, you can drop off food at either of the 2 colleges or the 2 stores."
Leaves are beginning to fall. The Iowa winds have begun to whip around the prairie, and here comes winter fashion. In Iowa City, people are trading in their shorts and t-shirts for jackets and boots, literally. Sarah Bulmer takes a look at what consignment shopping really means.
It's almost winter in Iowa City, and even the trees are wearing sweaters. At Revival in the Ped Mall, some people come to trade in their old clothes for something new, used, or vintage. Consignment is the name of the game, and some University of Iowa students say thrifting is kind of like a treasure hunt.
You find hidden gems the more you look. Like, sometimes there's stuff that I wouldn't never wear, but then you just search the racks really hard and you'll find something.
Catherine Champion says thrift shopping is nothing new, but it's timeless.
People have been thrifting for years, or doing consignment for years.
Owner of Revival, Sheila Davison, says they probably get about 6 to 8 bags of clothing in per day. She tries to break the thrift store mold by keeping up to date with current fashion. She says this winter is all about infinity scarves.
They've been really strong for the past, I'd say, 3 seasons, but this season, everybody wants one, or 6.
With all this talk about consignment clothing, I figured it's my turn to try some things on. While a career in modeling probably isn't in my near future, that fur coat was only $24 and might be tempting for someone on a student budget. I don't know.
It's one of the only stores, I think, that I can afford in Iowa City with cute clothes.
The people who are in college or grad school, funds are just tight.
Let the treasure hunt game begin. Sarah Bulmer, Daily Iowan TV.
Sarah, thanks for the scoop on some winter fashion. Now we'll pass it over to Kelsey Cuniff for an update on some early winter weather. Kelsey?
Hey guys, if you're heading home for break tomorrow, drive safe. It looks like we might see some snow tonight and tomorrow. The morning will be in the mid-30s with partly cloudy skies. In the afternoon, the temperatures will remain the same with a chance of snow. Tomorrow night, the skies will clear and the temp will drop to the low 20s. Now let's take a look at the rest of this week's forecast. If you're staying for the game, get ready to bundle up. Saturday, it's going to be in the mid-20s with partly cloudy skies. Sunday will be only slightly warmer. Monday, it will be mostly cloudy with temps reaching a high in the mid-30s. Tuesday and Wednesday will be in the mid-30s with sunny skies. That's all I have for you. Have a warm Thanksgiving break. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kelsey. And some university researchers are trying to better understand snail reproduction.
Yeah, and they've made some significant discoveries. Laura Gibbs is in the studio to tell us more.
A group of researchers at the university are working on decoding the genome for a special species of snails. And like you mentioned, they have made some great discoveries that have significant implications for the way we understand genetic diversity. Daily Iowan TV reporter Melissa Dawkins has the story.
What can snails tell us about who we are and where we come from?
We're learning about why sex is important.
Researchers at the University of Iowa are studying the DNA and habits of a special species of snail in order to better understand why some living things choose mates while others reproduce asexually by cloning their own DNA. These snails are special because they do both.
At the root of this big project, there's actually some really little critters. Most of the snails, like this little black dot I'm pointing to, are only 3 to 4 millimeters each.
This is brooding diploid against itself.
Researchers are building an entire genome for this species of snail. Think of a genome as a roadmap to all the hereditary information that defines the characteristics of an individual organism.
We're sequencing a bunch of different mitochondrial genomes and then analyzing whether asexuals or sexuals have more harmful mutations in them.
Though some members of the public have questioned the relevance of the project, Neiman says the discoveries her team is making have some significant implications.
We cannot predict the importance of basic science in the future.
Among numerous other findings, Neiman and her team recently discovered that female asexual snails may actually produce fertile male offspring. This is surprising because female asexuals, by definition, should only create replicas of themselves.
What we had presumed to be a completely impenetrable genetic barrier between sexuals and asexuals might actually be more porous than we thought.
Each discovery, like this one, carries along with it a host of new unanswered questions as Neiman and her students continue looking for answers to an age-old mystery. This all in hopes that these little snails hold some big answers about invasive species, genetics, disease, and why we reproduce the way we do. Melissa Dawkins, Daily Iowan TV.
I don't know about you guys, but I find snails very interesting, and these snails are much smaller than I expected. Guys, take it away.
Big night in the sports studio, Reed.
That's right, Muriel. The final regular season pregame of the year on tap as the Hawks battle the Wolverines. So with that, let's toss it over to Lauren Moss, who is ready to get this thing started. Lauren?
Thanks, guys. And that's right, Reed. It's Thursday, which means pregame is taking over the Daily Iowan TV sports studio. Lauren Moss back for our last regular season pregame of the year, with the Hawks set to finish up their conference slate against the Huskers of Nebraska during the university's programming break. A lot to get to on the program tonight, including another shakeup in our producer power rankings, and of course, the latest installment from our ranter, Ben Ross. But before we get to all of that, let's start with a game preview of the 59th meeting between the Hawkeyes and the Wolverines from someone who will be on the Kinnick Stadium sidelines. Jordan Cabialis?
It's the last home game of the 2013 season and the final game in Kinnick Stadium for the 15 seniors on the Iowa roster. The Hawkeyes welcome in the Michigan Wolverines, who are 7-3 on the season, 3-3 in the Big Ten. However, it has been a struggle these last few weeks for the Maize and Blue, especially on the ground, racking up a total of just 70 rushing yards over the 3 games combined. The Hawkeyes enter Saturday's matchup as a 6-point favorite, and although they are favored, the Hawks haven't forgotten last year's 42-17 thrashing in Ann Arbor.
Last year, we never even got our hands up. It was, especially in that second quarter, it was over pretty quickly. So, yeah, they got a lot of the same faces back from a year ago. I can't remember a Michigan team that wasn't extremely talented, and we've still got a lot of work to do at our end, so it's going to be a tough task for us.
Those familiar faces include quarterback Devin Gardner, wideout Jeremy Gallen, and running back Fitzgerald Toussaint, who left last year's game in the first half with a leg injury. The key to victory for the Hawkeyes will be containing them. Charged with this task is the nation's 9th best defense, led by seniors James Morris, Anthony Hitchens, and Christian Kirksey. The senior linebackers have combined for 248 tackles, 20.5 of which for a loss, 5 sacks, and 4 interceptions. Michigan leads the all-time series 41-13-4, but Iowa has won 3 of the last 5. Jordan Cabialis, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
All right, thanks for that, Jordan. And for one last time, 16 seniors will be lacing up their spikes and hitting the field, donning the black and gold of Iowa at Kinnick Stadium. Among them, tight end C.J. Fedorowicz and defensive lineman Dominic Alvis, who have both been pretty banged up in recent weeks. To check out what this week's two deeps look like, let's toss it over to our own Whitney Blakemore and Chelsea Brown with the full report. What's going on, ladies?
Thanks, Lauren, and welcome to our weekly injury report. Taking it back to 2 weeks ago when the Hawkeyes beat the Boilermakers, a couple Hawks went down during the game.
That's right, Chelsea. Cornerback B.J. Laurie was injured in this play right here, where he lowered his body for the tackle and seemed to take a helmet to his lower back. He was escorted off the field and did not return to the game.
And tight end C.J. Fedorowicz also did not return to the game. After a hard hit, he stayed on the sidelines with what was suspected to be a head injury. He was seen with his helmet off and trainers taking a look at him for a possible concussion.
Luckily for Laurie and Fedorowicz, the bye week came at just the right time for them to recover. Both are listed on the two deeps for this week's matchup against the Wolverines and are expected to play for their senior day right here at Kinnick Stadium.
I know how important that'll be for Fedorowicz to be able to play in his last home game as a senior, but for defensive lineman Dominic Alvis, his final game may be watched from the sidelines of Kinnick.
He's working a little bit, so, it's just a matter of how long he can go or how effectively he could play. We got a little bit of a look at him. So, we'll see what this week brings, but it's kind of week to week, or day to day, actually.
Although Ferentz does see improvement in Alvis, he is still not listed on the Michigan two deeps.
While I was resting up last weekend, the Wolverines struggled with their schedule. 2 losses in a row and a triple overtime game against Northwestern has significantly played a toll on this team.
You're exactly right, Chelsea. Such a tough 3 weeks may be noticeable on these players against Iowa. Michigan's starting running back Fitz Toussaint, however, did not play against Northwestern due to a concussion, but has been able to fully recover for this weekend.
We haven't seen Toussaint since last year when he broke his leg against Iowa after a Lowry and Christian Kirksey tackle, forcing him to miss the remainder of the season.
He will definitely have some rekindled memories going into this matchup, Chelsea, as he is finally back to being healthy.
You're absolutely right, Whitney. And that's all the time we have here. Back to you guys in the studio.
Before Ben Ross joins me on set for his latest rant, let's check out the latest shakeup in our producer power rankings. Movement in our back four with Northwestern falling to their lowest position of the season at number 10. Illinois and Purdue below them in spots 11 and 12, with Indiana moving up to number 9. Minnesota jumps as high as number 5 this week, despite being thumped by Iowa and Michigan earlier this season, who came in at number 6 and 7 respectively. The only surprise in this week's top 4 is that all of our producers agree. Spartans, Badgers, and Huskers come in at spots 2, 3, and 4, with the Buckeyes of Ohio State still king of the conference at number 1. And look who it is. We've got Ben Ross back here in the studio. All right, Ben, what's on the menu tonight?
I'm serving up a full-course meal of subpar football on tonight's rant. If it were up to me, I'd take every team in the Big Ten that is in Ohio State, Michigan State, and Wisconsin, and want the slate clean. Start over with new coaches and players, rewriting the history books, and blazing a trail of football that was competitive and fun to watch. It would spare all of us the embarrassment of watching last week's Michigan-Northwestern triple overtime nail-biter, a game that included 14 punts and 9 field goal attempts. It would keep us all from having to hear the hyped-up chatter surrounding the Minnesota football team, which will more or less play its biggest game since the 70s. Wisconsin goes to Minneapolis, just so it continued to hold on to Paul Bunyan's axe. Minnesota's number 25 rankings in the BCS polls is purely a product of the embarrassing football being played in the Big Ten. And in reality, it's about 30 spots too high for the Gophers. They haven't beaten Wisconsin since 2003, back when the price of a gallon of gas was $1.20, twerking wasn't a thing, and the Big Ten played respectable football. Weren't those the days, Lauren?
They certainly were, Ben. What's going on with the world now?
Very little. It's just going to, I can't even tell you.
All right, well, that wraps things up for us tonight. Be sure to check dailyiowan.com for an interview with Iowa kicker Mike Meyer and extended highlights and sounds of Iowa's matchups with the Wolverines. Remember, on Iowa.
And let's go rough up Michigan.
Well, that's all we have for you guys tonight. Be sure to check our Friday's edition of the Daily Iowan.
Check out the full-page spread of JFK's 50th anniversary.
And read about how Iowa City is celebrating historical preservation.
Thanks for tuning in this evening. We'll be back at the same time on Sunday, December 1st, or you can catch us anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and see you back here in a couple weeks.
Iowa SJMC.
Want a major that'll take you somewhere?
I joined, and now